Capture, cultivate, close, and coach. We call them the 4 C's. And now we're going to focus on the close side of your prospecting. Now, it's key that you understand that we use the word close because it's one of the 4 C's, but by no means are we insinuating that this is the end of your relationship with your prospect. In fact, this is truly the beginning. And in the coach stage, we're going to show you how to train them and bring them through a leadership training that will get them to the point where they're doing exactly what you're doing and truly building a mutually beneficial, growing relationship. And close is at the point when you invite them to join your team. And inviting them to join your team and being part of your team is really very simple, because if you've done your job correctly in the cultivate stage, you know what their why is. You know why they're looking, you know what they want more of in their life, and you know also when they're looking to make a change. At that point, it's your turn to invite them to join your organization. Now, a lot of people are very good at the cultivate stage. They get a lot of people are interested and they get them on the fence. They're sitting there on the fence, and because of several reasons, one of the main ones is fear of rejection. They're afraid the person's going to say no. They're scared to get that no. That fear of rejection and the fear of getting a no, we allow people to sleep on the fence. Now, this gentleman looks very comfortable on that fence. He's actually sleeping on a fence. In fact, when I first saw this photo, it so impressed me. This gentleman is truly sleeping on the fence. And we let our prospects do that because we're afraid to invite them to join our team. If you don't ask, you're not going to get. And the key to getting people to join your organization is to ask often. In fact, I close from the beginning. I say things like, when you join our organization. For example, if someone asks me, how do I get trained? I say, oh, well, that's a great question. When you come on board, you see, I'm already implying that ownership. Remember I mentioned earlier, beginning with the end in mind? Well, if you don't ask, you're not going to get. And the key is, I have found, is to ask softly and not put these hardcore closes, like trying to convince someone to do something they don't want to do. That is not what we're going to teach you to do in close. I have made that mistake myself so many times. I've brought people into the business because it benefited me at a particular time, and I knew coming in that that person did not have the desire, they did not have a strong why, and they weren't willing to see the business through until they had success. Don't convince. Don't try to get people to join that don't see the value. This is also a huge key in retention, because keep in mind, remember the 4 C's? We've got to teach people to do the exact same thing that we do. They're going to need to go through the capture, cultivate, close, and coach as well. And if they're not excited now, if they have to be convinced to join this business, then you probably will find in the long run you benefited nothing by convincing them to do something they do not want to do. What we're going to teach you how to do is how to answer their questions, how to overcome their objections, and help them come on board and letting it be their decision instead of you trying to convince. And that really is the truth, is the average person joins the business after the 4th to 5th request. I know it took me 3 or 4 times that the person that I spoke with when I first got into this industry before I decided to come on board. And what was funny is I'd made the decision in my mind to get started, but I didn't actually say yes and move forward until about the 3rd or 4th or even 5th time that the person that brought me into this industry asked me to get started. So remember, the key is to be persistent, but at the same time, we want to attract and not chase. And this example, I believe that this person is being chased. You can tell she is genuinely not interested. We don't want to do that to our prospect. So how do we learn to attract people? How do we answer their questions? How do we invite them to join the organization without being the person chasing them? You see, you remember the needy child on the playground? Many of us are laughing now. That poor person that had no person, no one to play with. And they ran around saying, play with me, please, please, will you play with me? Will you do this? Will you do that? Well, we don't want to be that person. And if we ever do become that person with our prospects, we're going to quickly turn them away. So the key to getting people to come on board and join your organization is inviting them to join the business, and inviting them in a way that puts you in a position of power and not in a position of neediness. Now, this particular close has resulted in more people joining my organization than any other way, and it's really quite simple. After you've gone through the presentation with your prospect, after they've gone through the cultivate stage, you've answered their questions, I will say this question almost verbatim. So let me ask you, John or Sally or Tom, what questions do you have before determining whether this is appropriate or not for you? And I basically, at that point, it's hard for us to just shut up, be quiet, and wait and let them respond. But if we do, we will find that we get great results. So what questions do you have for me before determining whether or not this is appropriate or not for you? And wait for them to answer. And you'll be surprised. A lot of times the questions are a lot shorter than you realize. In fact, it'll be things like, well, how do I make money? How do I get started? You answer that question and that question only. One of the big mistakes that I see so many people do is a prospect ask a particular question and we introduce our own additional obstacles and things to overcome. For example, if the person says, well, how do I make money? My answer is not, oh, we have a quadruple binary backflip program with 15 kickers, and as you move through the leadership bonuses, you're going to... No. How do I make money? I get paid weekly, or I get paid bi-weekly. And I get paid not only on my efforts, but the efforts of the team that I build. That is how I answer the question. Learning to answer questions simply without introducing new objections is key. Now, we're going to go over this in detail. And in the back office training, continue to look, because we're going to have specific calls on each of these. We'll spend several calls focusing on closing and how to get people to join your team. And this will be a continual area. But when you ask the question, let them answer. Once you've answered that question and you haven't introduced any new objections, then I say this word or this phrase and it works like magic. Then John, then Sally, let's get you started. And again, the key here is to pause. Wait for them to answer. They're going to tell you what their concerns are. Well, I'd like to, but this. Now, remember, they said earlier they didn't have any other questions. So I like to get all those questions out first and then start moving forward into getting them coming on board. So then let's get you started. Pause and wait for their answer. If you learn this alone, I guarantee you that you will probably double your recruitment. Easy ways to ask people in a very non-intrusive. I'm not hardcoring them. Well, let's get you started now. No. Do you have any more questions for me before determining this is appropriate or not for you? No, I don't. Well, great. Then let's get you started. Pause and let them answer. Be surprised with the amount of people that are going to say, yes, I'm ready to get started. Now, the second close, or the second way that I've brought a lot of people into the business, is using what I call the A to B close. And I didn't invent the A to B close, but I did apply it to my industry and my business, and it worked very, very well for me. So for example, if you have 2 packages or 3 packages in your business, most companies have 3. I typically focus on the middle and the top of the line. Now, don't ever tell your prospects the top of the line, because everybody wants to buy almost the best, but they don't always want to spend the most money, okay? So you'll find that you don't want to say, well, we have this package and our top of the line package. But the way I explain it is this. I'll say, well, there's really 2 ways that most people get started. Now, notice I say 2 ways that most people get started, because with all companies, typically, if they're in this industry, they can always get started, quote unquote, with a starter kit, but they don't start earning money. So I like to phrase it like this. It keeps you fine with compliance. I'll say the way most people get started is with, and I say there's the basic package, which includes this, and this, and then there's the complete. Notice I said complete, not top of the line. I say then there's the complete package that has this, and this, and you get all of this as well. Now, here's the key to closing with this one. Which one of those packages makes the most sense for you? Now this is magic. I mean, this honestly, it works. You'll be surprised how easy it is to invite people to join your team when you do it properly like this. So here we've got the entry-level package or the basic package that has this, this, and this. We have our complete package that has this, this, and you get additionally this, this, and this. Which one makes the most sense for you? And remember before, shut up, wait, listen, and what they're going to do is they're going to tell you what they're thinking. This almost always happens for me. They'll say, well, I really want to do the complete package, and I realize you get this, this, and this. They're going to tell you, you'd be surprised how quick they pick up the additional benefits by going with the bigger package. But at the moment, I currently only have this amount of money, and they're going to tell you the way they're thinking. Now, this is what I typically do. If I can sense that they're really moving towards the complete package, I'll say, well, look, you said you mentioned you have X number of dollars. When do you think you're going to have the extra couple $100 to go with the complete package? Again, you're going to be surprised. The answer is usually shorter than you think. Oh, a day, a week, a month. And then you say, okay, well, let's get you started on Friday with the complete package, okay? Now, if they say to you, well, I'm really looking at the complete package, but at this point I've only got enough money for the entry or the basic package, and don't say entry level, notice I said the basic package. I only have enough money for the basic package. At that point, and then you say, okay, well, how long would it take you to put together the funds for the complete package? Oh, well, it's going to be, tax time. It's going to be 6 months, 9 months, a year. And then at that point, then I immediately say, well, let's go ahead then and let's get you started at this package, the basic package, because you can, in 6 months, you could be making so much money. So I get them to go now, and then I say, but you can always upgrade later or add those additional parts to your program. So you're going to get better and better at determining whether to incentivize or encourage them to go with the bigger package and or the middle package. Now, occasionally, you're going to get the answer, well, wow, even the basic package is way out of my reach. That's when you can say, well, there is another way you can get started. Most people on my team start with one of the two packages I just mentioned, but you can also get started from, and you can tell them your low-end package. The reason I do this in this particular manner is most of the time, when I first started using this, I signed up most people in the middle package. And then as I start to see more benefit in the complete package myself, I got more people to sign up with the complete package. But worst case scenario, most people start with the middle package. But if the person still doesn't have the funds and you can see they have the desire and they're willing to work hard, you can then move them down to the low-end package and get them started now, letting them know they can potentially upgrade and add those things down the road. So that is probably, between those two, I would say almost 50-50. Let's get you started now. And then when they say, okay, well, yes, I want to get started, then you can go into, well, let me go over the two packages that make the most sense. We have this one and this one, A, B. Which one, again, remember this, which one makes the most sense? Notice I didn't say, now this is also what we call an assume close, because I'm assuming they're going to pick a package, right? So which one makes the most sense for you? And let them pick between the two. Don't try to oversell at this point too. Let them tell you. They might ask you, now what's the difference between the two packages? Make it simple. In the basic package you get XXX, and in the complete package you get XXX plus you get, and then hit the highlights. And again, just turn it back and say which one makes the most sense for you. So easy, but I'll tell you, it works, and if done correctly, will result in you building a huge team very easily. Now, I've also found that people, if they don't start now, remember I said people don't get started right away, typically it's the 4th or 5th time you ask. Well, this method I have found, if I said before 50-50, this one is just the kicker to just really help me. This helps me a lot when I'm going for rank advancements and things like that. And that is giving people a reason to start now. Now, a lot of times the company you're with will have enrollment kit programs where you have a free enrollment kit, or you have upgrades, or you get bonuses. But if your company doesn't have one going on and you need to move your business going forth now, and you need to make something happen this week, then what I've done is created my own incentives. And easy ways to do it is to throw in some free training. Hey, if you get started now, I'll throw in this training package. Anytime you go to an event and you've got some great speakers there, and I have materials if people want to be able able to purchase them to give them away, or you can just offer the training in the back office. But a lot of the speakers have product, and if you tell them that you want to buy some product at a discounted price, you want to buy quantity to use as incentives for people to get started, you can always find some great products out there that you can offer. I will go out and when I go to a bookstore and I see a bunch of Think and Grow Rich is very cheap or something like that, I'll buy 20, 50, 100 of them and then use them. Well, if you get started now, I'll give you a free copy of Think and Grow Rich, and I'll throw in a free teleseminar with Pat, which typically costs $199 or whatever. Give people a reason to start now. Another thing that you can do is give them leads. As you build this business in the capture stage and you get good, you're going to have more leads than you can handle after a period of time. Also, you're going to have leads that you've worked at whatever reason you didn't connect with those people. It's always good to hand your leads down. So you can also use leads. Look, if you get started, I'll give you 10 leads to get your business up and running. Or if you particularly have someone maybe coming on board, you can say, well, look, I'm putting someone in today. If you got started with at least the basic package or the complete package, I could put a person underneath you now. So using the carrot or incentive, but giving people a reason to start now. What I have found is people always want to start. No one wants to say no, and no one wants to turn down the opportunity and feel like they're not going to. They don't want to say no. They don't want you to give up on them. But giving them a reason, if you were to get started now, I remember a lot of times we did Saturday training calls, and Friday I'd say, look, well, if you get started today, I'll give you this, this, and this, but you can go to this. We have an incredible training call lined up for tomorrow. It's one of the top people in the industry. They're going to be covering this, this, and this. It'd really help you get started. So if you were to get started now, I could get you set up for that training. So it doesn't have to be a phenomenal, think about the big gulp. How many times have we gone into 7-Eleven or gone into Dunkin' Donuts and we buy the bigger drink than what we really need because it's only a few cents more? Well, that's just in our human nature. People are more afraid of what they potentially could lose than the fear of what the desire for potential gain. So the thought that they might lose something, I might not get that free training, I might not get that person in my downline, a lot of times will incentivize people to get started. So the key to closing is getting people off the fence. Remember, if you don't ask, you're not going to get. Ask soft, ask often, start with the end in mind, give people a reason to get started now, and your business truly will explode. Now, a lot of people upon completing this pick up the phone immediately and go, I've got those 5 people. Now, let me give you one final. I don't have a slide for this. This is a bonus from Pat, and it's only for those that listen all the way through. A lot of times I love to give little nuggets to those that are persistent, and this one is key. If you give someone a reason to start now, and a lot of people get off this call and they go, I've got this person that I've had sitting on the fence. Let me give you this little nugget. Tell them that you're going to put them down as a no. Let me give you an example. Call them up and say, hey, John, Sally, Fred, we've been talking for a while and you told me you were going to talk to your cousin, your uncle, your dog, your postman about this business. And, I haven't heard back from you. Do you have any questions before deciding if this is appropriate or not? And they say, no, I really don't have any questions. Well, then let's get you started. Well, I'm just not ready. And then say this to them. Say, okay, well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and put you down as a no for now. Now, here's the thing. This one is, people don't want to be given up on. They want you. They tell you, don't bug me, don't call me. But at the same time, they really don't want you to give up on them. You see, at that point, you've pulled the lifeline out of the water, and they realize that it's a long way to swim to the shore, and they see you as a potential solution, whether they tell you it or not. So go ahead and tell them, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and put you down as a no for now. If I'm doing that inappropriate, go ahead and let me know. A lot of times they'll let me, well, I really want to do this, but and they'll get beyond themselves. So that's the nugget for those that stayed. That's the little secret hidden gem. Pick up the phone now and put this into action. I guarantee you, if you do, you'll get some of those people off of that fence, and you're going to be surprised how many are going to come to your side of the fence and not the other side of the fence. Now, plug into Coach and go into the next training if you don't pick up the phone and call people, and start making it happen.